The first thing I noticed about the armor was that it was still warm. Not warm like fresh from the forge warm, but the lingering heat of something that had been alive inside it moments before. The plates were blackened, layered in overlapping hexagonal scales that shimmered faintly under the hangar lights of Outpost K-17. Alien tech, no doubt about it. Definitely not something listed in any Terran engineering manual. The second thing I noticed was the blood. It wasn't red. It was a deep, metallic blue, pooled beneath the shattered greaves and seeping into the cracks of the deck plating. Whoever had been wearing this armor had been in a bad fight. The kind where survival wasn't guaranteed. Human. A voice rumbled behind me. Low. Controlled. Dangerous. Can you repair it? I turned slowly. The alien warrior stood nearly a head taller than me, even hunched in pain. His species, later I'd learn they called themselves the Karveth, were built for war. Broad shoulders, digitigrade legs, skin like dark stone etched with faint bioluminescent lines that pulsed with his heartbeat. One of his arms hung useless at his side, and his chest rose and fell in labored breaths. I'm an engineer, I said carefully. I fix things. Ships. Power cores. Life support systems. I don't usually work on armor. His glowing eyes narrowed. This armor is my life. That should have been my warning. Outpost K-17 was a neutral trade hub on the edge of human-controlled space, the kind of place where mercenaries, traders, and diplomats all pretended not to notice each other's weapons. The Karveth warrior had arrived barely an hour earlier, carried in by two of his kind before collapsing. They'd brought him to me because I was the only engineer on duty who hadn't already evacuated after the firefight in the docking ring. I knelt beside the armor despite every instinct screaming at me not to touch alien war gear. Up close, the damage was worse than I thought. Microfractures ran through the chest plate, and the power lattice embedded beneath the scales was unstable. The armor wasn't just protective, it was integrated. Symbiotic. Some of the conduits were fused to his own nervous system. This isn't standard tech, I muttered, more to myself than to him. It's bonded. Yes, he said. It is Vethka. Soul armor. I snorted softly. You aliens always have cooler names for things. Despite himself, his mandibles twitched. What I later learned was a smile. I worked for hours. I bypassed my fear and treated the armor like any other system under stress. I stabilized the power flow, rerouted damaged channels, and used nanowelders to reseal the cracked plates. Where the alien materials resisted Terran tools, I improvised, adjusting frequencies, altering thermal profiles, listening to the subtle hum of energy until it felt right. At some point, the warrior stopped watching me like I might slit his throat and started watching me like I was important. You should not be able to do this, he said quietly. Story of my life, I replied. When I reached the core, a crystalline node embedded near his sternum. I hesitated. The readouts on my scanner went wild, translating nothing but warning symbols. The node pulsed faintly, matching the rhythm of his heart. This part, I said, it's damaged.
Badly.
If I don't fix it, the armor will fail the next time you enter combat. And if you do, he asked. I swallowed. I don't know. He studied me for a long moment, then slowly knelt, lowering himself until we were eye to eye. My name is Reek Talcor, he said. By our law, I give it only to those I trust with my life. I nodded, feeling the weight of that trust settle on my shoulders. Eli Mercer, human engineer. Not great with ancient alien laws. Then we will learn together. I placed my hand on the core. The universe exploded. Light surged up my arm, not burning but connecting. I saw stars I'd never known, battlefields drenched in ash and honor, warriors standing shoulder to shoulder across centuries. I felt Reek's pain, his pride, his unbroken will. And beneath it all, something older, an ancient protocol, dormant for millennia, suddenly awakened. The armor accepted me. I screamed and nearly tore my hand away, but the energy subsided as quickly as it had come. The core stabilized, glowing steadily now, its fractures gone as if they'd never existed. Reek stared at his chest, then at me. "You have triggered the Veil T Charwen," he said slowly. "That's bad, isn't it?" "It is unprecedented." The rest of the Karveth arrived minutes later, weapons raised, their voices sharp with alarm. They froze when they saw the armor whole again, and the faint echo of energy still clinging to me. Reek stood, towering and powerful once more, his wounds sealed by the armor's regeneration field. "Stand down," he commanded. They obeyed instantly. "He is bond-touched," Reek declared. "By ancient law, he is under my protection." That should have been the end of it. It wasn't. 3 days later, the outpost was under siege. A pirate coalition, species didn't matter, hit K-17 hard, looking to plunder its stores and capture high-value targets. The station's defenses faltered within minutes. I was in the engineering bay when the alarm screamed, and I knew exactly how this was going to end. Reek found me as explosions rocked the hull. "Eli Mercer," he said, offering me a gauntlet hand. "The bond you triggered is not symbolic. It is a warrior's pact. If I fall, my armor will seek you." "That's comforting," I said weakly. "You must survive." We fought side by side. I didn't wear armor or wield alien weapons, but I did what humans do best. I adapted. I rerouted power to shield nodes, sabotaged enemy boarding craft from inside the network, and kept Reek's armor running at peak efficiency despite the insane strain of combat. At one point, a plasma blast knocked him to one knee. I didn't think. I ran to him, slapped my hand against his chest plate, and shouted, "Come on, you stubborn piece of ancient tech." The armor flared. Energy surged from me into him. Reek rose like a living god, his armor blazing with light that made the pirates scatter in terror. The bond had deepened. Strength flowed both ways now, his resolve anchoring me, my ingenuity feeding him. The battle ended with the pirates fleeing into jump space. The outpost survived. Afterward, in the quiet that followed, Reek stood with me at the observation window, watching stars drift past. "The Veil T Charwen was forged when my people first encountered extinction," he said. "It binds protector and protected, warrior and creator. It was believed humans could never awaken it." I raised an eyebrow. "Let me guess. Because we're too young as a species." "Because you fight differently," he corrected. "You do not rely on tradition. You rely on change." He turned to me fully. "My people will speak of you," he said, "not as a warrior, but as something rarer, a human who repaired more than armor." I smiled, tired but proud. "Guess I'll need a bigger toolbox." Reek placed a massive hand over his chest in a solemn gesture. "Where I go, bond touched, you will always have a place." And for the first time since leaving Earth, I realized something profound. Humanity didn't need ancient bonds to matter among the stars. But when we stumbled into them anyway, by compassion, skill, and sheer stubbornness, we changed the galaxy forever. Outpost K-17 returned to its usual rhythm within weeks. Ships docking, traders haggling, alarms blessedly silent. Repairs replaced scorch marks, and life moved on the way it always does on the frontier, pretending yesterday's near extinction was routine maintenance. But the bond didn't fade. Sometimes, when I closed my eyes, I could feel Reek, not his thoughts, not his voice, but his presence, like a star whose gravity tugged gently at the edge of my awareness.
calm, steady, alive.
I was recalibrating a jump stabilizer when the signal came. Not a transmission. A resonance. My tools rattled on the deck as the air itself seemed to hum. The familiar warmth spread across my chest, the same sensation I'd felt when I touched the armor's core for the first time. Then the station's long-range sensor screamed. 3 Karveth warships dropped out of fold space in perfect formation, their hulls marked not with conquest glyphs, but with oaths. Ancient ones, according to the station AI, hastily translating symbols that hadn't been recorded in any database. Reek stood at the center of the main viewing chamber when I arrived, his armor restored, reforged, and subtly changed. New lines traced the plates, human geometry woven into alien design. "You didn't tell me you were bringing an armada," I said, trying to keep my voice steady. "They did not come for war," he replied. "They came to witness." The High Marshal of the Karveth stepped forward, towering even over Reek. His gaze fixed on me, not with hostility, but with reverence. "This is the human," he said, "the maker that walks." I nearly choked. "I fix reactors." "You repaired a legacy older than our written history," the Marshal said. "You awakened the Veilti Char-Yen without bloodshed, without conquest." Reek knelt. Every Karveth in the chamber followed. The meaning hit me harder than any plasma blast ever could. The bond hadn't chosen me because I was strong. It had chosen me because I helped. Later, as the ships prepared to depart, Reek and I stood once more among the stars. "My people will no longer see humans as fragile," he said, "nor merely adaptable. They will see you as kin to our past and our future." I exhaled slowly. No pressure. A low, rumbling laugh escaped him. "When the galaxy breaks," Reek said, "we will stand together. Warrior and engineer, armor and hand that repairs it." As his fleet vanished into the dark, the warmth in my chest remained. I went back to my tools, back to my work, because that's how humanity changes the universe. Not by claiming ancient power, but by fixing what was broken, and refusing to let it stay that way.